which he had been compelled to take it there, and it's just pulling out their relationship. And I want to know how to, like what gave her the audacity to say, "This is where I'm going with it." If he doesn't comply, you know what I'm saying? Do y'all? Am I clear on it? Like what would get you to that point to feel like I'm okay to take it here? Go ahead, McKee.
And what you see in America is there was a story yesterday on our Supreme Court nominee who's up in front of the Senate review. What shapes jurisprudence in the United States is our racial history. So Brown versus the Board of Education created this circus that you see when we confirming Supreme Court nominees. Canada doesn't have that. They have a totally different system because they don't have that racial past that we do. So fast forwarding that to police review, I'm always in favor of city governments adopting citizen review boards because both sides can opine all day, and based on the policy of your police department will determine what that's going to be if it doesn't go to trial. But when you have cities that have citizen review boards made up of, just like a jury, made up of every demographic of that city that can look at these situations and come up with the most just outcome, because going back and forth on the opinions doesn't even impact the decision unless you have a citizen review board.
Well, again, that's why you also have witnesses, because there were, I don't know what she was thinking, but I just knew that her intent behind whatever she was wanting to do ended fatally. And so for whatever reason, there are these corroborated stories where everybody tries to come up with some story of what they think happened. Bottom line, somebody died. Somebody is dead, and that affected a community of people because apparently he was well known. He was a worship leader at a church, and everybody knew him, and people thought he was just the nicest guy or whatever. So, but now there's another story coming out that they found marijuana in his apartment, which has nothing to do with the story.
You mean a deflection? That's what they did that with Trayvon Martin. They did it with what's the guy? They did it with Oscar Grant. They did it with Michael Brown. They'll do that to deflect.
So that leads me to believe that there's something within her story that doesn't line up, so they have to distract people with other corroborated stories. So, and that's all too familiar with our community. Like anytime something like this happens, it's just like, wait a minute, what did he do to deserve to be killed? And then you come up with something. He still doesn't matter if he had marijuana or not. She didn't have a search warrant to go to
He was in his apartment. Yeah.
Right. He was in his apartment. So we've all had noisy neighbors. But does that make you want to shoot somebody? I mean, no.
But
you complain against it.
I want to hear everybody. What's your theory though? Because I'll lead it off by saying what I think happened. There's definitely more to the story. I think they were intimate with one another. I think the family didn't know it. I think he either chose that he no longer wanted to be a part of it, and it was how she decided to react, knowing that she had the power, because it was that cultural thing of, hey, no, I control this situation. Here's how I'm gonna fix it. But what are you all's personal theories on what you think happened if you had to predict what happened?
I personally don't think that they were involved at all. I think it's what it was. Like she complained about him. Again, that's on record that she complained to the apartment complex about how the noise from his apartment. And so I think that, she was tired that day. She was sick of it, and she wanted to do something about it. And I think they didn't have any type of relationship whatsoever besides that relationship of them going back and forth about his noise and about the music in his apartment. That's what I think.
McKee?
Well, I can't help but go back to the larger issue, which is just so many guns. And when you can get angry and end someone's life, it's just a symptom of our lunacy as a society that we have this weaponization. It's just horrendous.
Yeah. Well, I would say I think it's a blend of both. I think maybe there was a start of some intimate or something, or maybe a rejection, and then you start seeing the complaints. And I think they just probably had some issues stemming from that. And I think she felt like, hey, I think I can. If this doesn't go my way, I think I can get away with it, so to speak. So, super producer on you.
I think it doesn't matter. I think the fact remains that she walked into an apartment that wasn't hers and gunned down an innocent person. For me, the backstory don't matter. At this point now, it's about justice, and trying to find the backstory is to either discredit the victim in a lot of those cases, and we lose the basic facts of what actually happened by trying to muddy it up with something else. She did something she wasn't supposed to have done, and she should be punished for it. Period. And if they should punish her the right way. But I think the rest of it just makes it just murks up the waters, and
super producer. But super producer, I got it. To your point, in order to make sure that justice happens, you've got to be able to prove motive and intent, and motive and intent come out of the backstory. That's the only reason why I said I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks. You got to have that to be able to go and have justice proven.
Yeah. Well, if the motive and intent, if he didn't do anything to, as what they've been using over the last 10 years, which is threaten her life, or she felt threatened in any way, she's in the wrong apartment. She killed somebody in their own apartment. She's supposed to go down for that one.
Yeah, and I agree totally, D, with the basic, but to JC's point, with this, as I think he was touching on, the more crazy they make it seem, the more of a chance.
I know that
she has a chance to get it off.
I agree with him, and I think it's a shame that it turns to that. But because
on the surface, on just pure justice,
yeah,
I go with you, D. That is absolutely 100. On pure justice, she did something wrong, just plain and simple. She went in an apartment and killed a man in his apartment, and yes, but we've seen some things that should have been cut and dry before.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
O.J. Simpson.
So that's why it does play in. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So
Citizen Review Board.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, but on that note, I hate we come to that point in time, but it's been a powerful show. But once again, hearts and minds go out to those in the Carolinas, on the coast down east. We're thinking of you. Be safe. Well, let me do this before we go, because I wanted to lift them up. Let me go through the panel. Is there anything y'all want to lift up going on this weekend, or send a shout out to? Start with the lady of the house, Doc. Go ahead.
Well, it's not too much going on this weekend because of our current condition here in North Carolina, but I just want everybody to just be safe and just adhere to the warnings and the suggestions that our governor and our legislative and our authorities have determined. So just be safe and just continue to pray for those who have lost their lives during this unfortunate natural disaster.
True. Brother JC Pope, you got anything you want to lift up or anything going on? Bring to the light.
I do. I'll keep the theme going along. I think one of the things that we can keep in perspective, that in natural disaster, there's always loss, there's always devastation, and there's always an opportunity for rebirth and regrowth. In life, we have plenty of storms. It's how we rebound from it and build from that makes us powerful.
True that. Brother Will McKee, talk to me. Anything you want to lift up?
Yeah, I want to lift up the first responders and the churches and the municipal organizations that are taking in folks that are ravaged by the storm. And I would also just briefly like to say that this is also another opportunity to shine the light on that ugly scorn known as poverty, because some people would not be able to rebound from this like others. And we saw that in Hurricane Katrina and in so many other natural disasters. So we got to be there for each other.
True that. Last but not least, super producer, you got anything you want to lift up? Bring some light to.
I'm gonna lift up everybody. I'm gonna piggyback on McKee. Anybody that's taking in refugees right now. We took in a couple ourselves. I got family out of that Jacksonville area, so they had to sleep on floors and couches and all kinds of stuff when they got here, but they wasn't stuck in the water. So let's make sure everybody stay dry. And for anybody that's out there helping and not just sitting back talking and pointing fingers, big up to you.
Yes.
Big up. And like I said, minds and thoughts are with you. And also, we want to thank everybody who listened to the show. Keep supporting. We appreciate you. So on behalf of the team, be safe. And we'll holler at you next week. Same time, same place. We out.